a lot of attendees, they have a lot of this misconception on Alibaba.com, especially they think that Alibaba.com is a China platform and it only focuses on China and favors the China manufacturers and sellers. Yeah. So they will ask question like this. Yeah. So, okay, let's say if, especially in F&B and agriculture across other industry, so how do countries apart from China compete with these China manufacturers and sellers? Is it really China have advantages or compared to other these country sellers?
Okay,
Or
thanks.
is there a very neutral way for them to compete in this platform?
Okay, thanks for the question. So the number one, it is a misconception that just because Alibaba.com is a platform that is founded in China and our headquarters is in China, then therefore the platform favors only the Chinese suppliers. Having the right understanding of marketplaces is knowing that it is a free will market, and the function of a platform is just in connecting what people are buying, what they want to source for, what are they looking for, their needs, and then connecting them with the right suppliers that can meet those needs. Okay, and what are the factors that will determine a buyer to choose between a supplier from Malaysia versus, let me say this, not just China, versus Vietnam, versus Thailand, versus Philippines, or even versus the various other countries is, if you recall just now the last slide that I shared, they don't just look at pricing. Okay, let me also tell you why that there are a lot more why people seem to think that Chinese suppliers seems to win more order. It is in that triangle. One of the key important things is response time or customer service. So here I'm sharing with you is from a data perspective. Okay, I didn't make this up. So in Alibaba.com itself, because we're a platform, we also need to deliver on the promise to the buyers who come into our platform to deliver the right suppliers who will give them the products that they need. Okay, and then when it comes to B2B trading, these people are buying for business. They're not buying for their own consumption. So number one, time is a factor for them. All right, they just want the quotations to come in as soon as possible, and many of these buyers don't have time to actually slowly wait for just one supplier. Now, even if you shop on B2C platforms for yourself, you will also probably compare a few suppliers. And do you just go and select the cheapest supplier you can find? And if you do that, then you're putting yourself at risk if the supplier has very low ratings, correct? Low ratings meaning this supplier is not doesn't have very high quality. Maybe the product can come defective. Maybe their delivery time is very long. All these are factors that will actually affect on determine why a buyer will choose a certain supplier, regardless of country. Now, because China is very competitive, the manufacturers or businesses in China is very, very competitive. So they are very hungry to actually grab all these business opportunities. So now, average response time or the average time that it takes for suppliers to reply to inquiries coming to them on Alibaba.com platform, we recommend the global standard is within 24 hours. Now, does anybody want to guess how long is the average time to reply for Malaysian suppliers? Anyone want to take a wild guess? Sorry, I got no prizes for you. But, okay, let me tell you this. It's more than 72 hours. Okay, so some of these successful Malaysian suppliers, I tell you, are not just Malaysian suppliers, because in 2019, I was in charge of Vietnam market as well. So how do I know that those suppliers are kind of successful? Is I see eye bags under their eyes. They look like panda or raccoon, because I said, why you look like you didn't sleep? Then our customer replied, yes, I did not sleep, Nancy, because I was busy replying to an Alibaba.com customer until 4 a.m. because he's from US. So now there's a time difference between Malaysia and US, right? If it's 4 a.m. in Malaysia or Vietnam, whatever Southeast Asian country, it means that it's working business time for US suppliers, right? So you see the difference between supplier to supplier is, your customer service. If you are able to respond to the customer's inquiries fast, and you know that your product is just as good, and even if your price is a little bit more expensive, you can deliver more value to your customers by providing excellent customer service. And Malaysian suppliers, we are at a great advantage because we can speak several languages. Any average Malaysian will speak more than 2 languages, right? And our command of the English language is also pretty good. And if you actually log on to Alibaba.com and you take a look at the live stream sessions that we have ongoing every single day, and you just go and pick some of the Chinese supplier ones, you'll be surprised to see the level of command of English is not exactly very fantastic. But then still there is this misconception that people prefer Chinese suppliers and Malaysian suppliers are not competitive. I tell you, if you actually put in the work as much as what the Chinese suppliers or any other suppliers in the world do, there is no reason why Malaysian suppliers should lose out. In fact, we have a great reputation as an international trading hub or trading nation because, the government through agencies like MATRADE has been doing so much tremendous work in promoting Malaysia as a trading nation for the last 30, 40, even 50 years. So we are at a great, great advantage.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Yeah, so I think to add on to Nancy's suggestion, yeah, so we as Malaysian, we have a lot of these good products and very good these sales approach in this Malaysia, which we should be proud of, and we really need to get our products out of Malaysia to let the whole world see this our good product. Which bring me to the next questions, which I've directed to Mr. Adhwa. So as we all know, Malaysia really got a lot of local products, especially those, especially in F&B, because we have a lot of these tropical foods, fruits, and then a lot of these F&B stuff. Yeah. So yet they really didn't go out from Malaysia. They only sell in Malaysia. Yeah. So what is the barrier or what stopped them from really getting their products out of Malaysia?
Thank you, Kok Wai.
Yep.
So for this specific question, so this one will be my opinion. So in regards to food products, food it has always been a very tricky item for you to export. For general food that are used for general consumption, like fruits or maybe palm oil based products, those that are widely accepted all over the world. So those ones can go very easily because everyone knows that. But if you're talking about specific, more localized or traditional food, so those kind of items, they don't have widespread recognition. And when it comes to food, people tend to be a bit more reluctant to try something that they are not familiar with. So in order to combat that, so a decent amount of promotion needed to be done. Like for example, in China, years ago, they are mainly a tea drinking nation. But over the years, they have slowly started to accept coffee as well. But that change of behavior doesn't take a year or two. It takes years and a very, very long time and a lot of marketing effort from major brands actually. So in terms of food, what I would suggest is the best type of food products to be
Mr. Adhwa.
exported. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. So the best type of food products to be exported is those that are that are in demand overseas, or let's say, for example, they are in demand in specific countries. For example, if you're talking China, that they have interest in durian, that they have interest in coffee, they have interest in bird nest. So target your food products to the countries that they have a high demand for it. I hope that helps.
Can I just add on to Encik Adhwa's response, because I didn't really have time to go through the slides just now. But in regards to what Encik Adhwa said, in knowing or identifying what are the products that people are actually in demand for when it comes to food and beverages. So actually, like Alibaba.com is a global platform. So don't just look at that 1.6 billion population in China. Look at also the rest of the 6 point something potential globally, right? Because that's only one country and one region. There's tremendous opportunities in US, EU, and all of that. But I think one of the challenges for maybe food suppliers is getting your certifications, because if you want to penetrate into new markets, then you need to have the international certifications to go along with it, like such as your US FDA, the European Union certs, and the British BCI certs and all of that. So I'm just going to quickly share one slide that I didn't get to go through just now. Is actually what are the certifications for food industry that I think will be beneficial for the F&B suppliers here today. So if you actually have the US and EU food certs, or you're actually pretty much covered. But these are also some of the examples of all the food, all these certifications, international certifications related to food, like CGMP, Current Good Manufacturing Practices, the BRC, British Retail Consortium, which is an international recognized mark for food safety and quality. And there's also GMP, and then HACCP, and if you are a small supplier or trying to get into the palm oil trading business, then RSPO, cert, and things like that as well. And of course, the halal certification as well. Great advantage because Malaysia's halal, certification is really quite globally recognized by global customers, actually.
Okay, thank you very much, Nianci. Yeah. So as for Keith, from an exabyte point of view, so we often talk about brand awareness, especially in the global market. So how exactly Exabytes can help to get local products to get more brand awareness globally?
Okay, so basically this one, if let's say you are the new sellers or you're still new in the online marketing or e-commerce, right? So basically, Exabyte can be your consultant, okay, whereby we will be guiding you on how to plan a proper strategy to list your product in the e-commerce platform and how to run the digital campaign from there. So, and then on and off, we are actually continuously to work closely with you or with your marketing and sales team, whereby to make sure that you are able to get some potential sales or get the actual sales from there. So this is basically how we are able to help from time to time to our clients.
Okay, very good, Keith. So in addition to that, I think Exabyte is working along with MATRADE and Alibaba very well. So as a backup to these new exporters and sellers to oversee. So in case there are any questions, there are always Exabytes, Alibaba, and MATRADE around. Yeah. So another question for most of.
Oh, why? I think there's some questions on the Q&A box.
Yes,
I want to pick one to actually address.
Yes,
so,
there are two questions there. So one is directly directed to you. So is it possible that Alibaba charge based on win sales or some duration of fee management to have a try first? Basically, it means that trial lah, yeah. So does Alibaba provides that?
You can go and sign up for a free account, but the free account comes with limited functions. And I suggest that if you believe in export and you believe in digital and e-commerce, this is an investment. Again, if you have attended trade fairs and trade shows, would the organizers also give you this free trial thing? Why don't they do that? Because they know that they are the right kind of leads or the right kind of buyers in that exhibition or wherever that platform is. And the business model for export is different. If we charge on based on what sales you close, we make even more money because one export deal is a lot of money. Okay, so we don't do that. So it is a completely different business model altogether. Okay, second question, which I feel is more important. Okay, this person said just now, I shared about the top 10 industry of export from Malaysia. Okay, any advice or forecast for the top 10 export industry for 2021 that Alibaba or MATRADE foresee? Okay, number one, I am not fortune teller. Okay, I can't tell the future for 2021. If I could, then I would tell everyone go and, you can write off 2020, right? Okay, jokes aside, the numbers I shared earlier about the changing consumer trends when it comes to something as simple as we eat and consume every day, which is food and beverages. Why are we seeing different consumption pattern with people being more health conscious, people being more environmental conscious? Is because if you follow the updates and developments on COVID, you see some health experts actually said this is caused by global warming because we actually have a disease that we've not actually seen before in the human population. But what we do know that because of this impact of the pandemic, where people work from home more, we also know that they want not just healthy food, but they also want food that is easily prepared, so instant food. So for F&B suppliers, if you can fulfill the criteria of number one, healthy food, but we, especially Malaysians, we know a lot about the taste. So you must be able to supply not just delicious food or not just healthy food. It must be healthy. It must be delicious, and it has to be instant. It has to be fast because we work from home, and on top of that, people with children, they also have to look after the kids. So time is very, very limited. And for as long as we don't receive vaccines, we keep throwing this the new normal way to live. I think this is going to be this trend, in terms of the consumer demand for food and beverages is not going to change very much in 2021, meaning to say that this is now the golden opportunity, golden time for F&B suppliers to actually tap onto new markets, because globally, this is what people are looking for. If you have food that is delicious, if you have food that is healthy, and you can make and you can prepare that food very fast, then you're going to have a great opportunity. And your product needs to be seen, your brand needs to be marketed out there, not just domestically, not just to China, but to the world. Okay, then you need to pick the right marketing channels. Alibaba.com is one of it, where you know that the traffic coming in, they are just, number one, have one intention, they're just looking to source and buy. Right, but you also need to cover your other channels of marketing. Make sure your website is updated and so on and so forth, because you're now talking about being able to supply overseas, and you're competing not just domestically but also internationally when it comes to exporting. So the trends are going to be here and going to stay for some time. Okay, this is the Master Nancy's prediction for 2021.
Okay, thank you, Master Nianci, for the suggestions and insight. Yeah. So we have come to near end of our this webinar, our panel discussion. But before that, I'm gonna ask one question to each of the panelists. Yeah. So this is the questions to all of the attendees lah. Yeah. So because all of them joining us, some of them are already exporting, and some of them are not yet exporting. Yeah. So some of them are new. So however, under this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, I believe all of the businesses are somehow affected and comes with a new norm, such as the increased growth of online businesses, etc., etc. So what is your opinion for them in order to grow even better from time to time, or to prepare for the future, for the new norm? Yeah. So maybe we start with Mr. Adhwa.
So for me, as I explained in my slides earlier, it's important for business to go digital now. For those that have not yet, it is highly advisable for you to go digital as soon as possible. As a start, you can start by doing e-commerce. If you wanted to go cross-border, you can join platforms like Alibaba.com themselves. And then you can proceed to more advanced curriculum in digital technology like automation and so on. But of course, going digital is very important now, because in terms of growing your export business specifically, since there's restriction to travels and all, by going digital, you will still have access to the global market and you can still get new customers. So yes, to sum it up, do go digital as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Adhwa. So I think a trend is a friend, yeah? So it comes like a wave and you need to embrace it. Okay, so what is your thought, Nianci?
Okay, so if there's one final thought that I could leave with the attendees here today is just think about what are the opportunities. We've shared, some insights or some data with you today in regards to the trends, and also, everyone knows that from the moment you wake up, you are online, because the first thing we reach for is our mobile phone, right? So not just B2C consumers. The way people consume information nowadays is they consume information through online or digital channels, right? It's no longer limited to offline or traditional channels. Not to say offline or traditional is not important, but if this year has proven anything, if the pandemic has proven anything, it is that it is very important for businesses to have a diversified leads channel, right? If you don't have diversified leads channel and you just depend on, say, maybe just offline, you are at risk when something happens like this that impacts not just Malaysia, but impacts the global trade. So in fact, many of our customers that I call up and speak to during March, when we first went into MCO, they said, oh, I'm so busy because suddenly I get all these inquiries from countries who've never bought from us before through Alibaba.com. And why is that trend happening to these suppliers on Alibaba.com? Is because these people cannot travel to trade fairs. They cannot travel to, let's say, fly to any country that they like to inspect factories or inspect products. So, but then their business needs to go on as well, right? They need to source for goods so that they can sell. So where do they go? So they go online. And I think that's the thought that I would leave everyone with. How can you diversify, and how can you leverage on e-commerce and online technology to actually pivot your business in this time of opportunity?
Yep, that's correct, Nianci. Yeah. So always be prepared, because preparation is always better than cure. Yeah. So Keith, what's your idea?
Okay, so just now mentioned about how do we actually to prepare. Okay, actually, I think nobody actually aware about this or can foresee that this particular COVID-19 actually will be going to happening. So there's nobody actually be prepared. Once actually our CEO, Mr. Chan, previously did mention that he used to talk about the swimming. So to start in the e-commerce, we need to really start swimming, because if one day we do not want to start swim, we never know how easy it is in swimming. So same goes to in this e-commerce. So today, if you wanted to do e-commerce, so do not think about I want to prepare this and that. I wanted to have anything. So as long as you have the thought, right? So you want to grow your business, then e-commerce definitely you will need to kickstart first. It is just whether you want to directly start in big or start in small. So as long as we already pick or step out the first step, so basically there will be how we will be start our journey in this online e-commerce, this kind of the platform.
Yeah. So the first step is always the most important one, right?